Well, thank you, Lionel, for joining us on this podcast. Thank you for reaching out and just being you. The first question that I always ask my guests is, where are you now on that life journey of yours?
Well, my life journey started long time ago. I've, been married twice, divorced twice, and now I'm on a path of self-discovery. The one thing I've learned is that most of the problems, most of the challenges, and most of the things that cause, I'll say complications within my relationship was within me. So what I'm doing now with my life is learning who I am, who's Lionel. That's the question I'm trying to answer today and trying to answer my life right now. Who's Lionel? And I'm learning so much.
Isn't it funny? That's what I always say to people is that I'm at the ripe old age of 57 and I'm still learning about me.
Absolutely. There's so much that I did not learn about me simply because I was taught, to care and to tend to other people's needs and never, focus on myself.
Beautiful, beautiful. And it sounds like an amazing journey up to this point. So, if I ask you to look back, where do you think that where would you start in telling us about that journey? Where did you start asking yourself the questions? Where did you start being curious that, okay, the programming that I've had from my parents, school, community, experiences has got me to this place, but there's got to be more. There's got to be something else. When did that start showing up for you?
Well, it initially showed up for me actually after, I left the, Desert Storm, the war. As a Navy vet, I realized that there are certain things in life that my parents could help me with, but it was the context clues that life throws at you that helps you realize that, okay, maybe what they taught me, what they trained me was relative for them, but
Mm.
it's different for me. But unfortunately for me, what I learned, it changes, as I go through different stages in life. So, while I learned, surface level, okay, I'm no longer a child that needs to be cared for by a parent. And now that I am, you know, a mature adult making life decisions and then beginning marriage. So each phase of my life, Stefan, was changed and causes me to look at me. Now that I have adult children, I've been married twice, there's no more surface level lookup. I have to dig deeper because there's a common denominator that's been with me the whole time. And that's me.
That is beautiful. And while you were saying that, isn't it funny how a lot of people feel that they need to run away from a situation, but all they're doing is they're taking themselves with them, and
Absolutely.
they are the situation.
You said it best. They're taking the situation with them and they are the situation.
Yeah.
And that's truly a hard pill to swallow. Well, I should say it was for me. It's a really hard pill to swallow that, okay, I am the problem.
Mm.
Because, I one thing I speak of a lot is, those three letters that I despise but I have to deal with, and that's ego. I don't like being wrong. You know, I really don't. Was that too honest? I really don't. But
Mm.
you know, you can't grow with the ego.
So true, so true. That just reminds me of when my ego wasn't there when I was in that deep dark hole of depression.
Mhm.
I've been through depression twice, and the last time ego just it was just like, well, where are you? You've been there, you've you created some great things, but when I needed you, you weren't there. And that's where you really have to dig deep. That's where you really have to
Mhm.
find your true self and that's what I came out with at the other end, and realized that, do I need ego? Do you need ego?
I think ego is healthy if used and addressed properly.
Mm,
When and I was listening as you were talking. I went through a couple spells of depression as well, and it was ego that kept me there, and is my ego that brought me out. The ego, that points the finger, that makes me look like a saint. Tried to keep me there because is everyone else is doing it, not my own. But it's also my ego. Okay, you're better than this. You have two options: stay here and be miserable, or pull yourself up, as they say here, by the bootstraps.
mm,
And I'm glad that I listened to the latter.
yeah, yeah. No, I feel with the ego as well, where I'm at is, and it's been a tentative journey because I knew how the ego can operate. I knew how it can literally pull me in a certain direction. And I was a little bit scared to kind of introduce it after the second depression because I had really gone deep. I had really found my heart and soul. And as I was tentatively moving forward on that journey from heart and soul, I was scared to bring the ego in. But then I realized that, but now I'm in control. This is going to be a different experience. Ego isn't going to be leading the way. It's going to be my heart and soul leading the way. And I know the skills that the ego has, and I'm going to use it to my benefit. So it will allow my heart and soul to shine, but the ego will spread a little bit of, well, I kind of see it when I do my lives. I kind of see it come through. It's kind
Yes.
of it's like the showman, but it's not the showman that needs to prove itself. It's not the showman that needs to have validation from anyone. It's just the showman that wants to showcase what's coming from a deeper place, and it's beautiful. It's just, it's great to know that I can control it rather than the other way around. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely. And that's ego is a tool that can be used. Yeah, and I love the fact that, as you said, you learn to operate and function by your heart and your soul, which is truly the essence of your being.
Mm,
Because when you're doing that, a lot for me, a lot of times I find that there's peace and joy even when I'm climbing up from a hard place, because it's for me, it's a liberating feeling to know that, okay, the essence of me is being filled up and being strengthened as I'm climbing out of the deep dark place. And so the ego, in that sense, which what I said earlier, is it can be good or bad depending on how it's used as a tool. It's like,
absolutely.
as you're saying, you're sprinkling. I would say it's like a power booster for me, because it's like, okay, I know what I was created to be and what I was created for, and I know this is not it. So the ego can push me to be the best possible version of myself.
Mm. So I'm curious, the journey that you've been on and what you've learned, how did it come about that then you decided, okay, I want to share this. I what everything that I've gone through, all the experiences, everything that I've been through, now I need to help other people. When did you get that kind of realization that this is what I've got to do?
Well, that came, I want to say, somewhere around 2023. Again, I had a lot of life challenges. My mother passed, and I had I looked at my adult children, and I just did not want that for them. So it was easier for me to share with my kids, because most of them already knew that dad was human. But none of them went through some of the experiences I went through. So for me, it was an opportunity to help teach them how to think and how to stay positive no matter what life throws at you. And then I was talking with friends who had life situations as well, and ironically, my situation wasn't unique. Just no one ever shared it with me.
Mm.
So I figured, well, since it's unique with life, and I'm a firm believer that no one goes through anything that's not common for humans. No, there's nothing that we're gonna go through that's not common, and there's always a way out. The key is someone needs to tell you or point you or guide you, and that's what I try to do now.
And how has that been for you? How has that journey been for you?
Actually, it's been actually a really fulfilling journey, and it actually helped keep me out of dark places. Simply because of the fact that I have to constantly reflect, that I have to intentionally, look at myself and make sure that I frame what I see in a proper way, so that way I do not go down a spiral. Because okay, if what I see before me is the challenge, how can I get myself out? And if I cannot get myself out, then I need to look, outside and higher.
Nice. And what would be the key takeaways of what you've learned about yourself?
The key takeaways I would say is to love yourself where you are, but more importantly, learn who you are. I think you said it best when you said, you're looking to your heart and your soul. You know, their voices speak at all times. The key is we have to learn how to identify those voices within us, and and use them as our guide. Because
Mm.
for me and most people I talk to, you're always hearing at least two voices. There's always at least two voices speaking to you, and you have to learn how to identify them. And when I say voices, I've learned that a lot of people they listen to, I'll say, concepts and precepts that come into your mind, but what is your body saying? What your intuition is good and you should listen to it, but your body, what is your body saying? Are you sensing, like, I'll say, just delays in life for some apparent reason? Could it be something telling you, okay, slow down, speed up? Because the and I'm still learning
Mm.
every day. There's something different. But most importantly, I would say, continue to listen and learn to yourself, and never be overconfident that you truly know yourself, because you don't know the time and space that you're in this moment. And your body and your mind may have to tell you something in a different way. Be open to hearing it.
Absolutely. How have you learned that? How have you learned the skills to kind of tune in and to get to know yourself? Have there been resources that you've found, or is it just you've literally, as you said, gone through these various experiences and then being the observer to yourself to lean into those feelings, lean into whatever is popping up in your head? How have you got to know yourself?
I got to know myself by having the proper coaches, therapists speak to me, and also my faith. You know, there's a lot of things that I see and I read differently, simply because of how life handles me, and it doesn't take it out of context. And for me, how I read a thing is what I thought. But just because I read it, without the coaches and the trainers and the mentors in my life, I would not have learned how to look at it a different way. So
Mm.
that's the best thing, is to have, I would say, have the right circle of people lifting you up.
And I hear that, and that's great that you've got the right people around you. But on a daily basis, how are you putting everything into practice?
I stop, I listen, I meditate. That's the primary reason. I don't rush any decision or anything. If I tell my if I have conflicting thoughts in my head about a situation, and I do not have a make a decision now, I won't.
Nice.
And for me, you know, not only did I have a battle of depression, but I also had I battle with anxiety, meaning that I just want this to be right and I want it to be right now, or I want to get this done because I see it. But just because I see it does not mean that it's a threat.
Mm.
And sometimes I've learned that a premature decision can be worse than no decision.
That is what that's what I've learned as well, is not to rush into anything, and to actually, the best way, because when the ego's in charge and I was building a business, it was always make noise, get out there, rush, 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 rush. And I thought when I was on this new journey from my heart and soul, that needed to be the same. I had to show up, I had to make noise, I had to get out there as much as possible. But actually, what was revealed was no, you'll get more value if you just slow down. If you just take your time, and as you say, be confident in, if you have a decision to make, that if you're not ready, don't make that, don't rush into it. Just take your time. And when it feels right, it will be the right time. But don't push yourself, don't force yourself. Actually, I read something the other day where it said, don't make any decisions in the face of fear, because they're always the wrong decisions. You're literally making those decisions because of the situation, which is a fearful place. And that's not the best place to make decisions. Make sure that you're making decisions when you've given yourself the space to breathe, to be able to think clearly, and then the right answer will come to you.
I've never heard that, but I love that. Never make a decision in a place of fear. I love that. I and is what you actually said was actually the same thing that I think, but you said it differently, and that's what coaches and therapists do. Because in my head, when you were talking, the way I process is I was thinking, yes, he's right. You should never do anything in a place without peace.
Mm,
And a place without peace is a place with fear. So, and again, and that's why I say good therapists and good coaches are good for you because they help you see things a different way. So not only do I need to concern myself with doing something in a place where I don't have peace, but okay, I may not be able to identify my current situation as peace, but is it fear? Because one may appear larger than the other at the moment. So moment by moment, I have to look at it different. As long as what we both agree on, that we don't rush into a decision, we have a better chance of making the best decision for us.
absolutely.
I think it's interesting that you know when you're on a heart and soul journey that we rush anyway because a heart and soul journey should be enjoyed.
Mm.
And for me, I learned that I lose enjoyment, I lose the peace, I gain the fear when I rush something. And so, I just want to take my heart back to that garden and it just enjoy it.
I love that. Take that heart back to the garden. I love that.
Yes.
And that's how I feel. And I feel myself sometimes, especially if you're running your own business and you feel that things aren't moving in the right direction, or you're not getting the amount of clients that you should do with the amount of work that you're doing, and then your head takes over and it's just, well, what do we need to do with it? And it's just like, no, 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 because you're going to pull me in making decisions that
You're
aren't
not prepared.
my true self. So the best way is just to slow down, even though it's what's the word? Oh, is that my? It's opposite to what you think you should do. It's like you're telling yourself, no, slow down. What do you mean slow down? Slow down. If you slow down, then you're going to miss so many opportunities. And
Right.
you should be on here, you should be on there. You're missing on. You should be on social media, and it's just like, no, 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 no. Slow down.
there's enough people out there that's taking care of, everyone on social media. My there's no one person that can handle all the clients. There's one point where I had a janitorial service and I did okay. I did okay. The business was doing well. The business was thriving, and I wanted a larger market share. And so I the same thing you're saying. I was building, 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 and it wasn't until my mom got sick and I started dissolving the business that I realized, wow, the business was growing, but my peace was dying.
Mm.
And I also looked at it, whereas there's a lot of times where I would grow, but I really didn't have the infrastructure set up to handle it. And while it looks good on the books, it killed me. I mean, it's just, it, and I guess maybe I'm just a practical learner where I have to learn from experience sometimes. It's like, yeah, okay, sleep or profit. It's like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
I really learned the value. Sleeping is profitable.
Oh, 100%. That's what I say to everyone. If you want to start taking control of your journey,
Yeah,
sleep is the most important thing that you need to
absolutely.
focus on. And I love what you said about what you said earlier about how we communicate, that it's great to hear things from different coaches that we might be saying the same thing, but we say it in different ways. And that's what I've learned from these conversations with fellow coaches, that we might be communicating, we're saying the same thing, but we're saying it in a different language, in the same in using different
Mhm.
words. And it's lovely to hear when you hear another coach basically say something that you've been saying in your own language, but when you hear it, you get a different perspective, and it's just like, wow, that is beautiful.
Well, it's one of the greatest realities of life, and one thing I read often in one of my favorite books. I would one of the characters would say, well, how do you see it? They'll tell you about other people, but he'll turn back around and ask, okay, but how do you see it?
Mm.
Who do you say? What do you think? Which teaches me that there are multiple ways someone can see a thing.
Absolutely. And what's highlighted for me when I'm doing my lives, also the different types of faith that people are following, and
Hmm.
when they're talking about how they see their faith and what their what benefits them, I
Hmm.
just think it's beautiful, because it's just like, yes, all faiths teach about love, and that's what you're communicating. You're
Absolutely,
communicating
absolutely.
love through your faith, and I embrace that. When I was younger, I'd be like, you know, about putting each person in a different box. And
Right.
now I see, I'm just curious when people are talking about their faith, and when they communicate love, it's just like, yes, that's why it's there. That's why it's helping you when you're at your lowest, that you're reaching out for that. That's what it's there for,
Hmm.
is to be
Hmm.
beside you. It's there to shine through you and help you wherever, you may find yourself. I've been living in the Middle East for the last 20 years, and when I first moved over here, I thought that call to prayer was weird, because it was nothing that I was used to from where
Hmm.
I came from. But as I as I've been on my own journey, actually, I really love the call to prayer, because really what call to prayer is saying is, leave whatever you're doing, whether you've got your phone, whether you got your head in the phone, whether you're literally stressed out in your business, leave it, stop, and literally come and appreciate this special connection that you are literally coming out of your head and literally connecting to your heart and soul.
That's beautiful. I never saw it like that. But I love that because we definitely need to stop and get out of our heads sometimes. Yeah.
Absolutely. And,
Yeah.
where else does that happen? Who
Oh my
else does
gosh.
who
Yeah.
else tells us to do that?
Yeah. Yeah. That you're so right. I've never heard it anyone else other than again, other than a faith of some sort to tell you to just stop, get out of your own head. And I think that's one of the biggest problems that I had and that most people I work with have is you're stuck in your head. And usually what's blocking you is not really as significant as you make it. But if you make it a practice to stop and get out of your head, it gives you a reset. So I love that.
Gives you the space to breathe. It
Yes.
literally does. When you
Yes.
come out of your head, it's just like, "Oh,
Mhm.
thank you. I
Yes.
needed that."
Yes. It's like now where am I? Okay, exactly. We're
Absolutely. And who am I?
exactly, exactly. We're
Not what everyone is telling me I am, not
mhm.
what my business is telling me I am,
Right.
not what the followers are telling me I am, et
Mhm.
cetera, but actually in my own space, who am I?
Right.
And that's as you said at the beginning, you're still learning. Yeah, it's always showing up in different ways. And life will always throw us things that we've never experienced before. So we learn something else about ourselves based on the situation that we're facing.
Ironic that you said that is because just the simple fact, as you're saying where you are, the culture to stop and pray. I think everyone needs to do that because when I sit back and I look at just on a surface level, when you stop and you reassess, because that's what you're doing when you pray, acknowledging your position in a thing, that that gives you as you said, who am I, where am I, and honestly, what's important. It gives you it gives you space to start thinking and looking through gratitude and love and appreciation. And then when you come out of prayer, whatever was troubling you before you went into it, guess what? It's still there and you're living. So it allows you to, if you want to put things in boxes, it allows you to categorize it in various ways. And for me, that's one of the times when I pray, I pray out of a thankful heart, simply because okay, I didn't do it. I didn't get myself here. I didn't I didn't teach myself to formulate the words. You know, but yet my soul, my mind, my body, they all come together. And a lot of times stuff that come to me is not what's in the forefront of my head when I'm
Mm.
grinding out and burning out.
But that's also what I say when because you said that you meditate.
Hmm.
That's something that I always say to people is the three things that you can do to start learning about yourself, to really start taking control of your life is the first one is sleep. The second one is meditation or prayer, because with those two practices, you're literally coming out of your head, but your head is trying to pull you back by throwing things about, oh, what are we going to have for lunch? Oh, what is the schedule today? Who did you talk to the other day? And your true self, your intention is the one that wants to connect, to really focus on you, not being lost in here. So it's that kind of tug of war. We've all been it. If we meditate,
Yes.
we've all been through that initial stage where, wow, this is hard. This is really hard. Well, yes, it is, because you're not used to coming out of your head. You're
Exactly.
used to listening to that voice in your head going on and on and on.
Hmm.
And now you, as an individual, are saying, no, not now.
Hmm.
I want to focus on my breathing. And it's just like, hold on, what? No,
Exactly.
no, no, no. I'm not going to let you do that. And that's why I say to people, if you're going to start meditating, and I don't call it meditation because the mind will go,
Hmm.
well, I'm not sure we're doing it properly. Are
Right.
you wasting your time? So I just say, focus on your breathing and just do it for 1 minute, but do it for 1 minute each day, because that's it's good. You're going to find it tough just for 1 minute, but you can say to the head, look, it's just for 1 minute, 1 minute out of 24 hours. What is that? Give me
Right.
the peace to just focus on the
Yes.
breathing. So either it's meditation, or if you're religious, then it's prayer. It's
Mhm.
and I say sleep, and then it's the morning prayer. It's the first thing that you do is to literally, and the thing is, a lot of us, a lot of people that are religious do it just out of habit. They don't really
Mm.
connect with those important words that they're
Right.
saying. They're not really
Right.
focusing on the words that they're saying. They're just saying it for the sake of saying it out of respect for their family, their religion, their community, but not really being present because they're still lost in here. And that's why I say, look, when you say your prayer, really focus on the words. This is your
Mhm.
intention. This is you. And what you'll find, again, just like meditation, your head will try and distract you. It'll be like, hold on, we've never focused on these words. We've never concentrated on
Mhm.
this. What are you doing? And you say, no, this is important. This is my time. This is my space to really connect.
Mhm.
So, so,
Ah,
so that's important. And then the third thing
very.
is exercise. And you know, our heads, a lot of us go, exercise, because we have this thing about exercise that we're going to get all hot and sweaty and we're going to ache, etc. And it's just like, no, exercise just means movement of the body. And again, it's allowing the energy to flow from head to toe, rather than when we're overthinking, all the energy just goes to the head and it forgets about the body. But when we're exercising, just going for a walk for half an hour, we allow ourselves to come out the head and we allow the energy just to flow
Mhm.
from head to toe. And that's what you need to tune into after half an hour of just walking. How do I feel? Because you will feel differently because the energy has been allowed
Right.
to flow. You've come out of your head. You've appreciated your surroundings. You're not focusing on, oh, I've got to do a 5K, 10K, I've got to run the fastest, or I've got to push those big weights. No, none of that. That's your head telling you that, or what the community expects you to do. It's you're tuning into the feeling. So you can show up every single day. And again, don't do what the head says, and you've got to prove yourself, etc., and vary it, because the head will start trying to say, "Oh, this is boring. Why are we doing the same thing every single day? Look at you. You haven't changed." No, it's not about physically changing. It's mentally and feeling that energy. And I'm going to vary it just to keep you
Mhm.
entertained and keep you guessing. So one day I'll go for a walk. One day I'll stretch. One day I might go for a swim. One day I'll go to the gym, but I'm just going to do light weights.
Right. Right.
And what happens? One, you feel better because you're feeling the energy, but also you start looking great as well. Because without you knowing it, after a while, if you're doing it every single day, you will physically change because now you've got energy flowing from head to toe and you're active. So when you do those three things, you're looking after mind, body, and soul.
Absolutely.
And and
Mhm.
you will feel the difference.
I was laughing while you're within myself when you were talking. I say, "Wow, this is an excellent coaching section." Well, because again, as you said, when you hear a coach to a coach, like, wow, okay, I say that to others, but how much do I really practice? And when you mention, tell people to start off with 1 minute of meditation. Yeah, I started laughing because when I was first asked to do a meditation, I want to say it was like maybe 3 minutes, and oh my gosh, it seemed like an eternity.
Yeah.
It seemed like an eternity, and the things in your head, okay, how much, how often, it it became an obstacle. Now for me, I meditate and I pray. You know, my prayer is based on my faith and my belief system, and my meditation is solely for myself and my alignment.
Nice.
And they're two completely different things for me. When it comes down to prayer, something you mentioned is great. People get caught up on just repeating the words. The was it memorization? Okay, just trying to memorize words. I'm not going to try to be fair. Try to memorize the words, you know, in itself is a challenge and an obstacle, and it defeats the purpose of why you're there.
Mm.
So for me, is about ingesting what I'm saying and not just spitting it out as it was written, but as you said, connecting with what I'm saying, so that way I can strengthen the connection, between me and who I'm praying to. So that way, you know, I'm building relationship and not just, performing.
Mm,
Because when you're just repeating words to me is more of a performance out of an obligation than communicating out of love.
mm.
And if you're not communicating out of love, then it defeats the purpose. And for me, when I meditate, I simply do that honestly just to get out of my head. Because if I stop, I'm going to hear stuff, but you know that's okay. That means my brain didn't stop yet. It's okay. And because what you find is people try to stop your brain. You can't. It has to do it on its own, which is why when I talk to people, I say try to quiet the brain, never stop it.
Quiet the brain. And it's a beautiful place when you do that, because
Hmm.
when I started this journey, and this is all everything that I learned on the journey that helped me, was the fact when you first, yeah, it's like people who do a New Year's resolution.
Hmm.
They say, okay, I'm gonna lose such and such weight, and I'm gonna go to the gym on a regular basis. and I and I know from experience is the biggest hurdle isn't actually going to the gym, it's actually getting out of bed because your head
Hmm.
is in the way. It's basically saying, "No, come on, let's just
You
stay
don't
in
really need
bed.
to.
We,
Yes.
why do all that? Put on all that outfit and then you get sweaty and it's that journey, etc." That's what's standing in your way. So what I always say, if you want to lose weight, the first thing you should do is just set the alarm. Get used to waking up at that time and do it every single day. So you're overwriting that little initial voice that says, "Oh, come on, stay in bed," etc.
Hmm.
No, this is for me. So, and it's easier as it's like small steps. You're taking small steps before you actually reach
Right.
the gym. You're overwriting whatever's showing up for you that's holding you back. So once you get over that hurdle, then the next one is actually putting on the gym gear. So you get out of bed and then you put the gym gear. That's it. Do that. Just do that. And I know the head's going, "What are we doing? This is a waste of time. Look, you're not losing
Yeah.
any weight. How long is this going to take? Look, this is a life changing thing. This isn't a quick fix. This is for the rest of your life. So you've got plenty of time. So we can take those small steps because this is going to be life changing for you." So then the next step is getting in the car,
Hmm.
driving to the gym, but don't go in the gym. Just create that habit, and then you keep on overwriting, you get stronger and stronger. So when you're actually in the gym, you've got no voice in your head stopping you because it's given up in a way. I don't have that anymore. When I wake up, I don't have any voice saying, "Oh, come on, stay in bed," because it knows it can't argue with
You
me
can't.
because
Right.
I feel the benefits, I know the benefits, and I feel it, and I need it. So you're
Absolutely.
not, there's no point standing in my way. So yeah.
Oof. That's great stuff right there. So you're teaching yourself to train your brain to do what you need to do, so you don't give yourself an out. So it means it's not
Absolutely.
means I'm not the only one to have that issue.
No, we
It,
all have
it's
that issue. We all
it's a
have that issue.
constant journey.
Oh, it is a
Oh my.
constant journey. And even that meditation now, as
Hmm.
you said, you started with 3 minutes. How long do you meditate now?
I can go for an hour.
Absolutely. Because
Yeah, I can go for an
you've
hour.
literally,
Yes.
yourself, your mind knows that this is good for you. This is a place that
Right.
you can just, yes, and you will hear, it will pop up.
Hmm.
And sometimes
Hmm.
it can be inspirational. Sometimes it's
Hmm.
something that you haven't even thought about. And it just, because you've given yourself the space and you're in that whatever you're in, but things seem to just flow and things will pop up. It's like being in a shower. You have the best thoughts when you're in the shower
Right.
because you're not thinking of anything else. You're just in the moment. You're in your like a flow state, as another coach said to me. There's nothing in your way. You're just literally one with the shower, and that's what you are with the meditation. You're just one with yourself and the universe,
Mhm.
and you're allowing whatever comes up. You're not pushing it to one side. Or if something does pop in your head that's thinking about what's coming up later, you go, no, this isn't the time to be
Mhm.
thinking about that.
Right.
And let's focus on the breathing.
Yeah, I find myself, being centered more actually in the gym than almost anywhere else. And for me, it's simply because my focus is on my physical being
Mm.
and not, my heart and my head and my spirit. So while I'm focusing on that, everything else gets to have, and it's not going to sound like a wise person what I'm about to say, but if I'm focused on, strengthening my energy and my physical being, I'm not abusing my body, so I'm not straining too much. My mind and my head gets to focus on the authentic me and reprogram some things, that I need to actually focus on. Is again, it's the same types of fleeting thoughts that I have in meditation, but for me, they're usually deeper and hit my heart better because I get my aha moment because I'm not forcing it and trying to do it. So I'm not trying to quiet my mind because my mind is not on my mind. My mind is
Mm.
on my body.
Yeah.
So when my mind is not, and again, a similar concept with the shower because it's something physical that you're focused on, that you're not trying to reprogram your head or your mind or whatever, where your mind can actually take its proper role and be the guide.
I love it. I love how you focus on the gym because that's exactly what I've said to some people that have said that I can't do meditation. But
Hmm.
on the other hand, they say, but when I'm at the gym, I'm just there. And I said, well, that's your
That's a
meditation.
meditation.
That is your
Exactly.
meditation because you're in
Exactly.
that flow state of just
Right.
focusing on that exercise. There's nothing else.
Hmm.
And you feel it, you know it.
Hmm.
So don't worry that you can't do meditation as
Exactly.
what the books say. You are
Hmm.
doing meditation. You've gone into some sort of meditational state because
Right.
you're one with your body. You're focusing on whatever strength training that you're doing.
Yeah, I love it. Again, that's my that's the easiest way for me to meditate.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of people speak against it, but I personally I enjoy working out either very early in the morning or late at night, probably about an hour before I get ready to go to bed. And in the evening, a lot of people say you're too stimulated to go to bed, but I find myself to be at peace
Mm,
after I work my body is beaten and is ready to rest.
yeah.
And again, my mind has already went into a meditative state while I was working out. So there's nothing blocking me. But it goes back to learning who you are and where you need. That doesn't work every day, but for me that's my personal best practice because it it takes my calendar out of my head because normally, okay, what I got to do next, what I got to do tomorrow, what's up next? No, just draw my proverbial line in the sand, and this is me time.
That's beautiful. Beautiful. I love that. And I never really looked at the evening. I'm a morning person. I do all my exercise in the morning, but I love the fact that you do it an hour before because basically, yes, you're coming out of your head. Where a lot of people are in their phones, they switch
Mhm.
off their phone and they expect their head to just switch off just like
Stop.
that. But it,
Right.
it doesn't work because it's overstimulated. It's thinking of everything that happened to whatever you're watching, or you when you invited the whole world into your bedroom, you're thinking about all the scenarios, etc., etc. That's going to take some time to unwind,
Absolutely.
but you've done
Yes.
that already. And
Yes.
also you've told the body, look, we're going to do this workout, and afterwards that's your time to
To
relax. You're not
exactly.
going to take on the rest of the day. This is your time to just go. We've stretched, we've pumped the blood around the body where it's
Mhm.
needed. It's flushed out all those toxins that might be hiding somewhere just by the exercise. And now, and through sleep, your
Yes.
body just flushes out
Yes.
all those toxins, and
Yes.
you did it.
Yeah, I love how you painted that full picture. And, but for me, honestly, I use my calendar to dictate when I go to the gym because I also go to the gym early sometimes.
Yeah,
Simply to get that fresh start on the day with a fresh head. Like
yeah.
if I have a hard time sleeping, then I'm gonna jump up and again just flush out everything
Mm.
and then start afresh when I leave. Because for me, I find the physical activity forces me to stop and it forces me to meditate. And it's a common practice for me. As soon as I get up in the morning, I am going to pray. I am going to stop. So I'm stopping, I'm praying, I'm thankful, then I'm refreshing everything. And it wasn't intentional, but it just coincidentally happened that way, that when I get to work and I start working, then my mood is so much better. I'm so much lighter. I feel so much healthier. So and so when people ask me, okay, when's the best time? It depends. Everyone is different.
But I love how you described how you feel when you go into work, and that's what I tell people when you do those 3 steps that I described is the fact that a musician doesn't get up on stage without fine tuning their instrument, and that's what
I
you're
love
doing.
it.
You are an instrument, and what you're doing with your morning routine is fine tuning that instrument to go on the big stage of life. So you are the best version that you can be.
You're blowing my mind, I'll tell you. I love that. I l- I'm going to use that. Oh my gosh, yes. That's exactly what you're doing. Oh my gosh, I love that. You're fine tuning your instrument. Oof, that was good. Oh my gosh. Oh, I need a moment. Oh, that is so true. I just never thought about that. Wow.
That's the beauty of these conversations. You hear
Yes.
from a different way of saying things, even though
Hmm.
you're doing it, you know it,
Yes.
but
Yes.
you hear it from someone else that sees it in a
Hmm.
different way, et cetera, and it does blow your mind because it's just like, wow,
Hmm.
I knew it, I do it, but I didn't
Exactly.
see it from that perspective. Yeah, yeah.
And now what we do is we take it and we can share it. Cause
Absolutely,
yes,
and that's the
yeah,
beauty of it.
yes,
That's why you don't hold anything back because
yes.
you're just handing the light. You're just
Hmm.
passing that light, and you are literally sharing it with your audience, your family, friends,
Hmm.
community, etc., etc. It needs to be shared. It's a way that, wow, I communicate in this way, but now I'm able to communicate in another way, which
Hmm.
hopefully will resonate with other people
For the
that didn't
people.
see it from what I was saying.
And what you just said is that is how you grow your clientele. Because now I'm prepared to help other people in a different way. So when someone comes and I can use an analogy like of the fine tune that I've never used before, they can say, wow, this guy, because for me, I just feel word of mouth is always the best,
Oh,
resource.
absolutely. Yeah.
And is I'm gonna say it's the least expensive
Yeah. No,
because
absolutely.
yeah, all you did was help someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I helped someone, which can help someone else. And that's purposeful growth.
Mm.
It's purposeful growth. And that's I love it.
And it's the most rewarding. It's the most
Yes.
rewarding because
Yes.
someone has experienced and seen the value that you give, and then they want to share that with whoever who might
Right.
need, and they will. gladly share that experience.
And
And you don't have to, you're not, and that's why I love this job, is that you don't have to be a salesperson. You
no,
just need to show up as your genuine self.
absolutely. Yeah, I've actually chased people away. Well, well, because I know that I'm not for everyone,
No.
and there are some people that I can tell by how they approach me that they're not going to work well with me.
Hmm.
And it was again just it was just last week I was talking to this young man. He said, "Oh my gosh, you got to set an appointment. I got to talk to you." And I said, "Look, before you call me, you want to assess yourself because I'm going to challenge you. That's my
Mm.
job.
Yeah.
And if I sense that you're not being authentic and honest with me, we're going to stay right there." And I said, "Do you really want to waste your money? Because I'm what I do is just what we did. I did not have the analogy of fine tuning an instrument, but I asked people. We ask people the same question in various ways to see if we get a consistent response.
Mm.
If I see that you haven't changed, I said you're going to waste your money. Work over it. You're going to waste your money because if I don't see consistency, then I have to figure out what's wrong,
Yeah.
and we're going to be
Yeah.
stuck there, and you're going to be disappointed. So,
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. I love to challenge people. I love
hmm
to push them out of their comfort zone. And if you're not prepared to do that, then you're not ready. Yeah.
exactly. And most people, I should say, I wasn't, and most people I talk
No.
to, they're really not.
No.
But if as long as you have the capacity and the willingness to do the work, I can work with anyone,
Mm.
and I'm sure you can. But the key is, you have to remember, it's your work, not mine. I'm doing my own on the side. Yeah, I have someone that's challenging me, and you need the same.
Yeah.
That's what isn't that what coaches do anyway?
Absolutely.
From if you look at it from an athletic perspective, that's what the coaches do. They're conditioning you for your life. So if you want to be conditioned, what is the coach supposed to do? They're supposed to push you. They're supposed to stretch you, and they're supposed to find out and fine tune what's best for you and what works for you. Not for the entire team, but for you. So you're going to feel isolated. That's my job because I see you.
Absolutely. And I love that, because that's what I talk about when I'm talking to clients, is
Hmm.
think about an athletics coach.
Hmm.
They're not there to run the race. They're
Right.
there, they're there to,
Right.
you come in, and you've come in because you want to achieve certain races, you want to achieve certain
Hmm.
heights. Well, they're skilled to get you to those heights, but they're not there to run the race. They're there to literally condition you so you're ready to run that race. And they're seeing you as this full body, this mental and physical person that's showing up, and they're gonna work on you. So when you show up at that race, you are the best version that you can be.
Absolutely. That's my job and my sense of accomplishment as a coach to make
Absolutely.
sure that you leave better.
Yep.
You know, and again, help you identify yourself and learn who you are.
Oh, 100%. So, Lionel, we're coming to the end, and I've loved this conversation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for being open and honest and vulnerable and just being you. And I appreciate everything that you're doing. Where are you going? Where is this taking you?
I'm so glad you asked that question. My journey, my life is taking me to a place where I continue to stay in the posture of a student because the things I do now at 50 plus I couldn't do. I should say I did not have to do, at 25. So just learning that I'm going to stay in a posture of a student is humbling, but yet it's fulfilling because it changes my vantage point on everything in life. So for me, where I'm going is to a better version of me at a ripe old age in the best condition I could be, mind, body, soul, and spirit.
Amen. I love that. And I want to connect with you. Well, let's keep in contact because I want to be you and me as old men in the future connecting and using whatever technology is out there at that point. Maybe it's going to be a complete virtual simulation or whatever. Who knows? But I'm looking forward to that conversation.
Well, it's you said it could be complete virtual. We're both old enough to know, computers didn't always exist.
No, they didn't. This was uncalled for. This was
Absolutely.
unthought of. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yes. So I'm looking forward to staying connected.
Absolutely. Now, how can people find you? Let's finish the show. How can people find you?
The best way to find me is on lionelmoses.com. My website, all my socials are attached to it. You can find me at Lionel Moses on almost every social media platform there is.
Beautiful. Thank you, Lionel. I I appreciate your time, your presence, and your love, your soul, and keep on doing what you're doing.
It was a pleasure being here. Again, I've learned so much about myself, and it's great learning about you.
Same here. Same here, my man. You take care. All the best. Thank
Likewise.
you.
Bye now.
Bye bye.